Well, today was the day that I was hoping for. The news from the league in relation to the stress reaction in Abdul Carter's foot. Doctors have signed off. No surgery is needed. It's healing like it should be. And Abdul Carter should be 110% good to go. We'll talk about it. Browns 3D starts now. Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends, your daily delivery of all things Dog Pound Browns 3D on the OBR, brought to you by State Sharpening Mower Sales and Service. I am your host, Jeff Lloyd. We appreciate everybody who has been along for the ride with us 2 weeks away from the NFL draft. The support here for the OBR over the last few months has absolutely blown my mind, whether you guys just absorbing the written content from our daily from our great group of writers coming out every night, to the streaming network, the OBR on YouTube, of course, the OBR over on Twitch, and catching up with all of us here at the OBR and our thoughts before we ease in to what will be an exciting 2025 NFL draft. Your headline today, and I'm actually going to turn this and we'll go mock style from here, and I'll give you just some thoughts here, and I'll try to get one or two of these in the next couple of weeks. But this also kind of gives you a view of players on the board, at least the way I would play it. Now, with Carter, everybody knew it was a shoulder injury. He played through it. Certainly, he was an absolute beast against Notre Dame in the playoffs. He was best player on the field defensively. You saw that he was hampered, but you saw that it did not slow him down. You saw that there was no questions about his effort that day. His tape speaks for itself. The fact that he has now got the green light, from the medical recheck out in Indianapolis. Certainly that was the only probably hold up for me. We're not going to get into this anymore, but, everybody's tried to, if you didn't want Carter, you dismissed him as being undersized. Well, he's 6'3", he's 250 pounds. He's bigger than Von Miller was coming out. He's probably more athletic and probably one of the most athletic guys to come out in several years, timed at a 4.48 at Penn State. He has a 33-inch arms, has a 6'6" wingspan. And I said yesterday, look, there's guys in all my times of watching football that I watch come around the corner, and I just get that bad intentions vibe from Lawrence Taylor, certainly the standard for that. Sean Merriman obviously was brief, a guy like that. But Abdul Carter, man, comes off of that edge, and it is with bad intentions. So everything looks and seems to be cleared up now for Abdul Carter. Those that are trying to use the injuries and the knock against them, I once again reiterate that Abdul Carter has not missed a collegiate game, whereas Travis Hunter, through his career at Colorado, did have 2 injuries, did end up missing 8 games in his time. So if we're going to do this stuff and we're going to talk about, try to, use these things, undersized, or, injury, you can't have it the way you want it to go. It applies and would apply essentially in this case to both players. Missing 8 games out of a 3-year career is a pretty decent amount. So we get in to the mock here. So now, again, you have the Browns sitting at 2. I saw somebody was, I guess it was somebody from PFF proposed maybe the Browns trade down to 10, get an extra first-round pick in 2026. I think taking an extra second and third this year. That's a great idea. It really is. And that's a lot of fun to play out. It really is. But nah, man, one of these 2 players that's available at 2 between Hunter and Carter have the ability to be big time players for your team, big time contributors. I've said numerous times, it's not so much that my issue is with Travis Hunter. My issue is I would now have a second wide receiver who certainly has the capabilities of being a wide receiver 1 with Jerry Jeudy, but I do not have my quarterback yet. And so I'm already running the clock on the Jerry Jeudy contract extension. I am already running the clock on Travis Hunter for 5-year, most likely rookie deal. And I am no closer to an answer at the quarterback position. So I could run a season minimum, maybe 2, before the Browns are absolutely sure who their future signal caller is for the future. That, for me, that's something I kind of got an issue with. I really do. Plus, I've talked numerous times, and I've stated numerous times, if I can just get Carter for the defense, I'm pretty much set on the defensive side of the ball here. I understand the needs on the offense. The skill position needs a lot of work this year. The offensive line is probably going to need a lot of attention in 2026. All of a sudden, the defense, as far as needs, is really going to fall off the mark here. I get Carter. I set that defense up for a minimum 2-season run. I'm okay with that, and I sit back and let you guys go ahead and pick all the offensive players you want. So you guys know it. I'm not surprising anybody. My pick at number 2 still, and look, guys, you can't waver now. If you want to be right, sure, go ahead and waver at the last second when you probably think it's clear and cut and black and white who the pick is. It's been since January. It's been since the college football playoffs that Abdul Carter was my guy for the Browns. I am not wavering 2 weeks out. So that takes us certainly to pick 33. And this came up today a little bit. And for me, the problem I have is with this is really the area for the quarterback. And we've talked about this, right? And seeing some of the proposals to trade from 33 back into the first round. Well, I got to give up 33. I got to give up 67. I probably have to give up a pick next year to take a quarterback in the 20s. I don't want to give up that much. I got to be honest. I really don't want to give up that much. And the other thing is look, pick 64 is a big-time value pick for the Browns as well. I need all the picks I can get right now. We have just talked about all the needs on the offensive side of the ball. There's going to be needs on the defense. Eventually, that's going to arise. I can't just basically shut down helping out one side of the ball because the other side is in such dire need. So I'll be honest with you. I want to stay at 33. If I can get Milroe or Dart at 33, if you made a deal with me right now and you said that I can get Jalen Milroe or Jackson Dart and I do not have to leave pick 33, I'm not doing it. I'm taking whatever guy would be there at 33. Certainly could get tricky, right? Shedeur Sanders goes 9 to New Orleans. Now, all of a sudden, that theory could be dead in the water. All right? But in my scenario, I'll stay at 33. I hope and my prayers, and we'll know by pick 31, right? Because unless the Eagles trade with somebody else, and the Browns do have a great relationship with Philadelphia, so maybe I just got to go 33 to 32. Certainly will not cost me that much just to go from 33 to 32. The Milroe Dart thing, we've gone all over with this. Milroe connected certainly to Tommy Rees together at Alabama. Milroe was playing better in 23 with Tommy Rees. Milroe fell off the map a little bit in 2024 when Rees came here to be the tight end coach. Tommy Rees now promoted to offensive coordinator. Both players were under Browns control of the team that, they had an assistant coach at the Senior Bowl. So that's where the Jackson Dart courtship began. Stefanski goes to his pro day. Certainly private workouts all around for all the quarterbacks, bringing them all to Cleveland. So the Browns tell you that they probably are seriously in play on one of the quarterbacks. I've said I think the lines connect better for the Browns and Jalen Milroe. One of those reasons I do believe is even when it went back to the Deshaun Watson addition, the Browns were trying to get more athletic at the quarterback position. That led to players like Dobbs, Snoop Huntley, the draft choice of, Dorian Thompson-Robinson. I don't think the Browns have lost the want for a quarterback with decent athleticism. So I think there's good connecting factors for both Jackson Dart and Jalen Milroe. I just personally feel the lines connect better for the Cleveland Browns with Jalen Milroe. I will do Jalen Milroe at 33. And again, I said this today on social media. I forget who put it up, and I responded. But if I got to give up 33, I got to give up 67 and more to get into the 20s to get one of these guys, then just take the guy at 2. laugh at me, oh, same old Browns, this, that, and the other thing. But then just take the damn quarterback at 2. Because now, all of a sudden, this 10 picks I have, which the Browns probably really need to make all of them, I all of a sudden don't have them. And I don't have as many as I did. And just kind of hurts me. There's no trades in this mock, obviously. So to this point, Abdul Carter at 2, Jalen Milroe at 33. And we will continue with this as your latest Browns 3D rolls on. We've been talking about the partnership the last few months with State Sharpening, mower sales and service in Broadview Heights. They are your one-stop shop for all things lawn equipment. Broadview Heights, right outside of Cleveland. Is there anything worse than missing the Browns game because you've got lawn chores to do? State has the best lineup of new Cub Cadet mowers to cut your mowing time down, as well as genuine parts and expert factory-trained technicians to get your existing mower back into peak shape. Whether you are in the market for the state-of-the-art Ultima Zero Turn or the top dog Enduro Series tractor, let State Sharpening and Cub Cadet help you keep your weekend yours. Veteran owned. The Kane family are lifetime Clevelanders. They are lifetime Browns fans, and they are proud supporters of us here at the OBR. Again, if you are local to Cleveland, State Sharpening Mower Sales and Service in Broadview Heights is your hometown team for all your lawn equipment needs. All their info is at statesharp.com. That is STATESHARP.com. We continue on here. Your latest Browns 3D. Again, everybody, the support here for the OBR has been fantastic over the last couple of weeks. We are all, and I speak for everybody, extremely thankful for the support, the written content, the nightly streaming. Subscribe to the OBR on YouTube, and of course, over on Twitch. We'll sneak in a show for you tomorrow. Then hopefully I can get we got some new upgrades coming here. So hopefully come Monday, we are going to get a much more clearer, cleaner version of Browns 3D here on the OBR. I appreciate everybody for their support as we are able to get these changes now going. So now to this point, big news of the day, certainly Abdul Carter appears to have gotten a solid medical recheck out in Indianapolis. He will be traveling to New York, spend a little time with the New York Giants. For Abdul Carter, it was 4 visits. I'm only visiting 4, the top 4, Tennessee, Cleveland, of course, the New York Giants, and the New England Patriots. Abdul Carter, big ticket item, only going to visit with the big teams. So now we get into a scenario here in round 3. Now, this is pick 64, which I think in this draft is a pretty pivotal pick for the Browns. I think you have a real decent chance here. I know everybody is going to want to talk offensive tackle, and I got to be honest, the way this mock broke, you're not going to hear that name till a little bit later. I don't know necessarily how I can spend a pick like 64 in this draft class on an offensive tackle when at the end of the day, I'm praying that this offensive tackle necessarily doesn't play at all, if any, in 2025. I hope DeJuan Jones, and I think if DeJuan Jones can stay healthy, I can get a good enough effort out of him for 17 games. Now, am I saying that's the long-term answer? Maybe not. He'll never be a great run blocker, but he is improving and was a good pass pro blocker early in his career before the injury started to set in. Plus, I believe in that mountain factor in that it takes a while to run around it. So ideally, you want DeJuan and you want Jack Conklin to be your starting tackles for 17 weeks. If something happens to either one of them, you have Cornelius Lucas. So I'm not sure I can spend a premium pick on an offensive tackle, even though I am one of the few people that talk about how much offensive line turnover there could be from the 2025 season into the 2026 season for the Cleveland Browns. So I think the Browns have shown us they have visited with Arroyo, a tight end I like. With Harold Fannin, I'm sure who's got the local vibe and rooting for him to maybe connect here with Cleveland. They have also met with the tight end from Oregon as well. They have been busy with tight ends and certainly with top 30 tight ends. But this has been my tight end from jump, and I don't think I'm going away from it now. And I've talked about Elijah Arroyo a ton. And I think the size, I think the athleticism, I think the fact that he's been timed at almost 22 miles an hour, I think he gives you a receiver option similar to what you get from David Njoku. And I talk a lot about how much the Browns offense suffers when David Njoku is either A, not 100%, or B, not available. So I need to replicate David Njoku. I cannot do that with one player. I cannot. So I draft Elijah Arroyo. I find a hand in dirt, blocking tight end who I'm probably not throwing the ball to very often. And hopefully that is my emergency break class plan if there is a dinged up David Njoku, or God forbid he's got to miss time. But either way, I add a sweet, sweet element at the tight end position with great athleticism, and we add Elijah Arroyo into the fold at pick 67. Now, a lot of people, have talked to me, and certainly, I've talked at length about, the wide receivers and the running backs. This is a great running back class. This is not a good, I don't even know if it's good wide receiver class. The fact that Matthew Golden may go top 15. I loved Matthew Golden. I know me, and there were very few people talking about Matthew Golden. But now, all of a sudden, one legit year of production, and it wasn't that great at Texas. And now all of a sudden, we're talking about a guy that we're going to put at top 15. Yes, wide receivers are important. Yes, wide receiver investments in the first round usually work out well. But this wide receiver class ain't last year's wide receiver class. So you just don't take the wide receiver if he doesn't stack up to other wide receivers who have been drafted in that spot. So now that's where we get to 94. And maybe this is where I entertain wide receiver. There's two names here on the board, and two names that the Browns have both had in the buildings in Berea on top 30 visits. There's Isaiah Bond from Texas. Isaiah Bond is kind of got like this Anthony Schwartz type game, hat tip Pete Smith, runs a lot of reverses. There's some things in his game that I am not a huge fan of. He kind of jumps for receptions that he doesn't have to. It kind of irks me because, you're always told as a wide receiver, the last thing you do is leave your feet if you don't have to. I'm not sure what the off-field truly is with Isaiah Bond, and I think that is why the Browns did bring him in for a top 30 visit to maybe get under the hood a little bit more on Isaiah Bond. But there is a wide receiver, and he is tiny, and I probably would never touch him. But the reason I would consider drafting him, look, my rule right now is I don't draft. Look, I ain't a big guy, right? My rule is I would not draft players who are smaller than me. But Tez Johnson has that Bo Nix connection, is a good kid. He's tiny as hell. We got to get him in Ohio, got to get some pierogies in him, get some weight on this kid. But if you're telling me in a situation where I'm at 94, it could be Isaiah Bond or it could be Tez Johnson. In this scenario, Tez Johnson is going from Eugene, and he is coming on out to Cleveland, Ohio, to become part of the Dog Pound, which takes us to pick 104. Now, I've said often, just let me take Carter. Just let me have Carter, and I will shut up about the defense. But there has been a safety prospect that I have admired a ton throughout this entire process. In Virginia, he was a dual threat quarterback, went to University of Virginia. He's played a boatload of special teams. He excelled and grew year after year as a safety in the Cavaliers secondary. He tested well. The athletic numbers are there. The production numbers are there. I know I can still get decent running backs on day 3, late into day 3. Obviously, we're at 104 here, the beginning of day 3. I'm going to take Jonas Sanker. Dane Brugler has him as a top 100 player. He has been a guy I have talked about the entire process. So I didn't think I was going to end up throwing the defense another cookie within the premium picks here, but I think I can kind of hedge my bet with this because I can get some running backs on day 3 that all of you are going to know and are going to be surprised they're available. But we told you guys months and months ago, there's going to be 30-something running backs, 34, maybe even 35 running backs drafted in this draft. There's enough for everybody. And for some teams, there's 2. Stick around. We're going to get to that here in a second. So I add Jonas Sanker there. That takes me now to pick 179. And this is where I'm going to show you that I think it's going to work out beautifully. And it may not be my guy that I'm about to say here, but there will be running backs available at 179. This is another guy. Pete Smith may tell you he was first on him. He's a liar. I was first on him. I was the one that spent all this time watching Syracuse football this past fall. And again, I have no idea why. So I developed an affinity for Kyle McCord, but I also developed an affinity for Lequint Allen Jr., Jersey boy like myself. Ridiculously productive in the receiving game. He blocks well. He runs well. Ran tough down the stretch, even though he was not 100% to close out the season for Syracuse. This has been a guy, and I tell you guys all the time, I love the top end of this running back class. But I just don't think I can overlook some of the other positional needs, and also the fact that this team is an analytic team. And why draft one running back high when you have 10 picks and it's a great running back class and you could probably get 2 on day 3? Lequint Allen at 179. I don't know where we're at, and this is pick 192. I don't know where we're at with the health of Mike Hall. Now, if everybody recalls, Mike Hall was injured, obviously, in the season finale. I know he's in the building because he was the one that put up an Instagram post yesterday telling us that the safety from Ohio State was in the building on a visit. So I'm not sure where we're at on the health of Mike Hall. You certainly brought in, the veteran pass rusher to bring in for nickel and dime situations. Shelby Harris is still here, and Jawan Briggs, the late day 3 pick last year, who I think is going to really, really take a step up this year. So do I add a defensive tackle? I don't know necessarily that I do, but also if I can get a guy that I think can kind of help me be the Shelby Harris after Shelby Harris is done with the Browns this year, how about we take a look at Alabama defensive tackle Tim Smith? You'd think he's a tad bit undersized, just a little bit north of 300. He's shown the ability in the Alabama defense to take on double teams, kind of pushes that pile backwards from the interior. This could be the guy who comes in and would play certainly on short yardage, goal line, would maybe take a rep or 2 in 1st and 10 situations. Ideally, you want to get to the situation where you're bringing your pass rusher interior guys in on nickel and dime. Mike Hall, certainly part of that crew. 192, Tim Smith, defensive tackle from Alabama. That takes us to 200 even. And now, this still blows me away with this guy. And look, has all the attributes you're looking for. It just never came together at Michigan. Injuries, other running backs brought in. He just never truly got to be the guy. Some of that, certainly missing time, injuries was on him, of course. Bad luck. It is what it is. But he was thought so highly of. He was literally put on the cover. One of the cover athletes of the return of NCAA football, NCAA 25. Donovan Edwards was a cover athlete for that. That shows you the ability people think he has. And I can get him at pick 200 on day 3. Yeah, I'm all in. So I just added Lequint Allen and Donovan Edwards at the running back position on day 3. And I got them within 21 picks of each other. I talk a lot about the Browns draft in 104 And then there's that wide gap to 179, right? Well, the Browns draft 179, 192, 200. Hopefully that can go well for them and can be a little coup in a draft class where you could really probably get some bang talent in that 179 to 200 range. And the Browns have 3 of those 21 picks. You want an offensive tackle? I'm going to give you an offensive tackle. Played 5 years. He's played over 3,300 snaps. 6'7", 314 pounds. He could smack you in the back of the head from the other room. Carson Vinson, offensive tackle, Alabama A&M. A little bit older. The athleticism didn't show, certainly in any testing. But yes, another big mamma jamma offensive tackle. I understand 26 is going to be a big year for the Browns in regards to the offensive line. Here's a guy I can take on day 3 as an absolute project, and we go back. We'll fast forward 1 year, and where are we at this time? A couple of weeks before the 2026 NFL draft, and is Carson Vinson at least a swing tackle? I'll take it. This is a guy that I'm going to take and pick with selection 216, and I'm going to give it a year, and I'm going to say, hey, is he at least one of the top 4 offensive tackles? Can I go into 2026 with him on my 53-man roster? It's worth a gamble here. 6'7", 314, long arms, certainly needs some work. He would be an automatic guy who would see a boatload of reps in the preseason, but Carson Vinson, offensive tackle, Alabama A&M. We close it out, pick 255. What is one thing I have said and I continue to say about the Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski regime? They were both defensive backs. What do they love? Defensive backs. Always draft corners. They love their corners. Well, this one here has a fantastic relative athletic score. Jalen Marshall Jr. out of the University of Florida. Relative athletic score, I think it was 9.4. Good player. Good player. Size is there. The cornerback class as a whole, it just kind of seems like a mystery in this year's draft class. They're just not getting a ton of buzz. I think with Hunter basically leaving the cornerback class and going to become a full-time wide receiver, maybe takes the wow factor a little bit out of this class. But with Jalen Marshall Jr., checks the boxes athletically, checks the boxes size-wise. This, for me, could be a player the Browns would have interest at pick 255. So 2 weeks out, my mock draft for your Cleveland Browns, number 2, Abdul Carter. Number 33, Jalen Milroe. Number 67, Elijah Arroyo. Number 94, Tez Johnson, wide receiver out of Oregon. Jonas Sanker, safety out of Virginia at 104. Lequint Allen Jr., running back, Syracuse, 179. Tim Smith, defensive tackle, Alabama at 192. 200. Donovan Edwards, running back, Michigan, 214. Carson Vinson, offensive tackle, Alabama A&M. And 216, and closing it out with pick 255, cornerback out of Florida, Jalen Marshall Jr. We're 2 weeks away, and I'm not even going to lie, guys. I'm getting super geeked up. Woo! Okay. So, this just came in. Isaiah Bond. I told you, there were some issues with Isaiah Bond. Couldn't seem to get anybody to give up the issues. So this is a little bit of breaking news here on Browns 3D. And this would be from Ian Rappaport at Rap Sheet, of course. Former Texas wide receiver and current NFL draft prospect Isaiah Bond has turned himself in to Frisco police this morning after a matter related to an outstanding warrant for sexual assault. Frisco Police Department told the insiders. He posted bond and was subsequently released. Well, guys, you know the way I do things. Isaiah Bond, even though you posted bond, you're off the board. Now, violence against women, it's just something I can't have. And you want to know what? The black eye this organization took for 3 years. And I understand he was a bigger name, bigger player, It's a no. Absolutely not. So there you go. My Tez Johnson selection at 94 overall looks even better now. So we're 2 weeks away. I am super excited. I ain't even going to lie to you. The juices are flowing. I'm really excited as well. I've tried to tell you guys that The upgrades are coming, and really excited about that. We want to put this on the map here as far as the streaming here at the OBR. Since I've been here, I think we're well over 2,000 new subscribers. So the daily lineup, starting off 30 minutes here with Browns 3D, whether it's Q, and then of course the boys doing their mock draft show on Monday night as well, crushing it. Tuesday, I'm out here, and then you get Brad and Pete, the React, which is probably you guys' favorite show here that we do on the OBR streaming network. Garage Beers, nobody enjoys talking Cleveland sports more than Mike Keefe. You get Fred and Barry on, of course, Wednesday night. This is Thursday, so you will have All Eyes on Cleveland with Brad Ward and Casey Kinnaman after this, so stick around for that. And then, of course, closing it out Friday, Browns 3D. And then, of course, Things I Think I Know again with Brad. Brad's got a really nice lineup going here, 7 o'clock every night on the OBR streaming network as well. Your big news of the day, Abdul Carter. Medicals have come back from the recheck in Indianapolis. Things are a go. No issues there. Sadly, wide receiver Isaiah Bond, what the issue was, has now been kind of put out of the bag. And this is just after Isaiah Bond was up in Cleveland. He is involved with a warrant in some form for sexual assault. For me, sorry, guys, ain't just going to happen. So I gave you your Browns mock draft, your latest on Abdul Carter, your latest on Isaiah Bond. We appreciate everybody who supports us here at the OBR. You have been watching Browns 3D on the OBR streaming network, brought to you by State Sharpening Mower Sales and Service. This has been your daily delivery of all things dog pound. Browns 3D on the OBR, and we will talk to y'all tomorrow.